Hi folks, welcome to your mwis Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Now compared to this time last week, a much quieter story in prospect for this weekend with fairly high pressure in charge. The overall story keeps that high toward the south of us with Atlantic winds prevailing during the week ahead. Temperatures will be a bit up and down. Most of rainfall coming in will be focused on the highlands, smaller amounts elsewhere. Let's start off with a look at temperatures, a bit of an up and down story through the next week or so. For the weekend, it's generally a mild picture with the air having come in from the southwest, although a chance of a touch of frost in some sheltered valleys and the odd corrie as well, first thing in the morning this weekend. Otherwise, it's a mild story taking us onwards through Sunday. We do then have a weak cold front coming in from the northwest into Monday. That will just lower the freezing level close to the highest tops in northwest Scotland. Otherwise, it stays above freezing point. Another attempt at a cold front will come down from the northwest through Tuesday, probably later in the day, and that just leaves us with a chillier spell briefly as we head into Wednesday, where the Munros will dip to freezing point or below, maybe as low as 800 metres, the freezing level in the far north of the Highlands, typically just above freezing point across the highest tops in England and Wales. That chillier air on Wednesday will get moved out of the way again as the next warm front comes in from the southwest by the time we get to Thursday, and the later part of the week is then looking mild again. Saturday's chart looks a fairly placid picture. We're in a col on the weather map between major pressure systems, so quite a benign day, but rather chilly in the wind first thing as the remnants of the low dragging its way eastwards still affects England and Wales, so rather blustery first thing. Those winds will tend to drop through the daytime, and for the Highlands, mostly light winds much of the day. A bit of a messy start with areas of low cloud and fog, but that will increasingly thin and break. You can see that if I run the sequence through Saturday morning, this goes hour by hour, you can just get the sense that there's some holes in that cloud breaking up, but it will be a bit of a variety of cloud and fog layers first thing. The highest tops, particularly in the Highlands, increasingly getting above that cloud or fog layer, so an inversion situation will be around, a chance then that you get above that into some sunshine, and increasingly through the afternoon, much of that lower level fog or cloud will tend to thin and break altogether, so some sunshine coming through quite widely. It will fill in again as we go overnight into Sunday in some areas, some low-level fog and thickening cloud generally across western Scotland as a warm front starts to move in here with some rain and drizzle as we head onwards into Sunday across the western side of the Highlands. Probably a cloudier day for many on Sunday, but fairly bright, particularly across England and Wales. Again, some low-level fog in the morning. Many of the high tops may well be above that. Wetter, though, across the far western side of Scotland as a front is draped close to that west coast. Skye, in particular, could see a poorer day for rain more frequently. The wind from the south-southwest will strengthen as well, and gale force across those coastal mountains in the northwest Highlands. A bit blustery as well further inland across Scotland, but still very light winds in the forecast across England and Wales. The warm front shown here is responsible for the cloud that will generally lap in towards some western coast of England and Wales, but a fair chance that many hills are still in the clear. To continue the story, as we head overnight into Monday, the fronts out toward the west will start to push in a little bit further, so the idea of rain coming on for more of Scotland overnight, and that front, although weakening, will then affect northern England and the far west of Wales into Monday daytime. It could be a rather dull, damp day across the Lake District and North Pennines on Monday, patchy rain just getting into the far west of Wales, more likely dry inland across Wales and toward the South Pennines. That front maybe not giving much in the way of heavy rain, but just nuisance value until it finally fizzles out on Monday evening. Meanwhile, Scotland is behind that front and some clearer skies coming through. Still a fair amount of cloud being dragged in on the southwesterly wind from the Atlantic. 1 or 2 drizzly showers just affecting the far west. A bit of sleet on the very highest tops with those temperatures just coming down a touch. But it's not a very strong cold front. The temperature gradient across it is not particularly marked. So temperatures, although lowering, not dropping sharply. Winds looking pretty light. Could just be a bit more blustery though across the northwest Highlands as southwesterlies. That rather windy story takes us toward the middle of the week then, with the Atlantic west by southwesterly in charge. Some further fronts coming in on Tuesday. The legacy of that previous front still may be giving a zone of cloud across England and Wales, so chance of some areas of fog across the hills and in some valleys as well early in the day. And then for Scotland, it's generally a story of some rain coming into the west, drizzly conditions spilling inland, not much of that across the eastern side of the Highlands, and a better chance for some cloud breaks towards the eastern side of the Cairngorms, for example. Strongest winds across the Highlands then may well be gale force pretty widely across the higher Munros, particularly in the north. Wednesday looks a windy day and a chillier one as well as that cold front passes southwards. Again, a weakening feature, so very little on it in terms of rainfall across England and Wales, but it may just give something for a time. Temperatures then dipping to freezing or below across the higher mountains in Scotland, so showers that come in on that strong westerly flow will have some snow and possibly some hail mixed in. Those could be quite frequent in more western regions. A brief interlude of chillier air then on Wednesday will be pushed away, as we've seen, as high pressure to the south sort of builds in again and drags the airflow back from the more subtropical Atlantic, so it's a milder story taking us onwards into Thursday. Still areas of low pressure passing toward the north and giving some rain at times for Scotland. Western mountains could stay frequently wet Thursday into Friday. Bits of drizzliness across western England and Wales, some low cloud possibly as well being drawn in on that more humid southwesterly flow. Best of cloud breaks then further towards the east. It stays windy as well in the second half of the week with that strong west by southwesterly. Now towards next weekend it looks as though the airflow turns round again towards the northwest. Some uncertainty about a little area of low pressure trying to scoot through from the Atlantic, but the indication of a chillier source of air, so temperatures dropping back to freezing point or below across the mountains and some showers with some snow and some hail possible again through next weekend. The exact detail though is uncertain for now. Briefly further down the line, and the outlook into the final third of November keeps high pressure centred just sort of southwest of us. A similar sort of pattern playing out, you may say, from this then, with things, weather systems coming around from the Atlantic, varied temperatures, maybe just drifting a little bit cooler more often if we start to see the air coming around from the northwest more frequently. Further south across England and Wales, more benign conditions across Scotland, still some frontal systems around that high, toppling in from the Atlantic at times. That's as you've seen then over the next couple of weeks. That is your Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.